Hello everybody, how's it going for you today? Hope it's going good. We have a cool kind of overcasty day up here in northeast Tennessee. I hope the cold weather doesn't stick around too long because I don't like it, but nonetheless, so I just wanted to talk. This is another video about reining in your eating, right? So we've already established that when you're plating up your food, you really don't probably need half of what is generally portioned for you. And I think one thing I've done is kind of actually moved away from eating bona fide meals, right? Bona fide full-blown meals. I eat dinner as a meal, and it's really the only standalone by itself meal I eat during a typical day. Typically, I try to graze in an almost non-stop manner. It does several different things, and I'm certainly not the first person to speak on it. But grazing, if you're trying to get your stomach shrunk down, which is absolutely important, because if you don't, if you keep eating the huge portions that, we typically do eat, or say we, you guys know what I'm saying. Your stomach stays stretched out, you stay hungry because you got this big, empty inner tube inside of you. So what you got to do is you got to shrink it down by, reining in your portion size. But through the morning and the bulk of the day, I think grazing is the way to go. It makes it where you can, really, if you graze right, you can eat something, every hour, or for Pete's sake, you could take 3 bites of something about every 30 minutes if you needed to, but you would find that you didn't feel the need, right? Because the grazing just promotes more grazing, right? It keeps you from eating big piles of food in any one sitting, which, a lot of the foods that we eat have so many carbs and sugars in them. You get those in your bloodstream. You get a big blood glucose spike, and then you get an insulin spike afterward to deal with your blood sugar, but then you have insulin left in your bloodstream afterward, and the insulin makes you want more sugar to use up the rest of that insulin. So that's one good thing about grazing, is it tends to, if you're grazing on the right things, it keeps you away from those foods that are high on the glycemic index. But for the longest time, I had myself a reminder set every 2 hours to eat something, eat a little bit of something. And my rule is 3 bites of something every 2 hours ish, right? Because at 3 bites, you're not going to eat so much of anything that it's going to be just, hellfire and damnation bad for you. And 3 bites of anything is really enough to offset any hunger or hunger pains that you think you might be experiencing for at least 30 minutes to an hour. The goal being, as far as I'm concerned, a steady intake of calories, throughout the day without any huge, massive calorie spikes. And thereby you're getting food and you're keeping yourself satisfied while your stomach is able to shrink and you're not overtaxing your metabolic systems, okay? So that's kind of getting, eating reined in a little bit more. It's not the right answer for everybody, and probably everybody won't be able to do it, and maybe everybody shouldn't, but that's what I try to stick to. So, just keep that in mind. Really I like it. It keeps me from having a big, this whole torsoular area, keeps it from being full of rotting garbage and compost, essentially, because who wants to be running around with a compost pile inside the middle of their vessel? Gross, right? So grazing, it's not just for cows anymore. Do it, suckers.